What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised Geek. This week, we talk about the season premiere of Succession on HBO Max and give some initial impressions of Resident Evil 4. So let's get into it. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm here with my buddy Don. How we doing, man?
Chris, what is up today, my friend? We're okay. Everything's all right. Can't complain too much on this late March evening. I'm good.
April Fools is right around the corner.
April Fools, the weirdest holiday of them all. It still doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, you're just tricking people. Like, and stay off the internet that day because anything you read is 50-50 chance that it's full of shit.
Isn't that how the internet just is nowadays? Like every day I read something, it's 50-50 chance it's shit.
Fake news, false. Yeah. Check your
Wrong.
sources. Yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, but I'm good. We didn't have a show last week because we were just got done with our long series of Last of Us shows, and thanks for everyone who listened to those. So we took a week off because you went on vacation.
Yep.
Little vacation with you and the fam.
Yep, up to the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, how was that? I haven't even really asked you how'd it go.
It went good. We kind of could have used an extra day. It was kind of a really quick trip, but overall I had a good time. Got to see my family from Chicago, came down and met. So we kind of wasn't really meeting in the middle, but kind of rented a cabin. Kind of saw some mountains. Cabin boy. My little nephew and I were climbing mountains, big giant hills that were behind our cabin. So we were like, let's climb some hills. So we climbed a bunch of hills, and then I couldn't walk the next day because I was so sore from walking. And I was like, this little bastard doesn't even he didn't even feel it. Like, he was just like, let's do more. And I'm just like, oh my God, am I getting old?
Well, you are, though. That's the thing. You're old.
I don't want to be old.
Here's the thing. Like, your nephew's whatever, I think a little
10, 11.
I have a 4-year-old nephew, and I see him like doing all these weird jumps and like getting down on his knees real fast and sitting Indian style. And I was like, man, I remember those days when your body just didn't hurt. like when you just had those young, fresh limbs and fresh joints where nothing, you were invincible. The world couldn't stop you. You could do a somersault into a brick wall and be fine and shake it off. But now we can't even get out of bed without hearing something creak or your bones cracking.
So now, as you're talking about this, you used to always say that you feel like you could survive an explosion.
Or just run through fire.
Do you still feel like that?
No, I'd be dead instantly.
Oh, yeah.
I would just collapse and die. Old man. Old man now.
That's funny. Just curious.
Yeah, we're not invincible anymore.
But it was amazing to come back from vacation, and we drove, but we just drove straight all the way back. It was like 17 hours, something stupid. Listening to true crime podcasts, and shout out to Crime Junkies for getting us through a late night drive.
Sure.
But after we listened to that, I forgot where I was going with this story. But we got home. I ended up having Friday, instead of that being a driving day, ended up being an at-home day. And that was the day that Resident Evil 4 came out, the remake of the PS2 masterpiece. Herald is one of the greatest video games ever made. They had the balls to remake it. And Don, I can't stop thinking about this game. I played it all weekend.
Yeah.
It's all I wanted to do today. I was like, work? I don't want to work. I want to spin this chair around, boot up the PlayStation, and get lost playing Resident Evil 4, saving Baby Eagle.
The president's daughter, Ashley.
Baby Eagle.
Yeah, man. We both got it on Friday. It's fun. I don't know. You don't expect like I mean, it's a remake. You've played it already, but just why is it so? It's not more fun, but it's like reliving the fun now is more fun. I don't know. There's something about that game. Yeah, I was the same way. Even after the first night I played it, and I was thinking about it as I was going to bed. I was just like, dude, it's so fun. And I don't know why, because those games are scary and cause me anxiety. And I don't want to do things, and I don't want to go around each corner because I don't know what's waiting for me behind the corner, but I still want to play it. Like, It's scaring me though. Like it's literally it's got me freaked out as I'm playing. I was like, I don't really want to be doing this, but I do because at least I have a gun, so I feel kind of safe. But
It's
yeah,
just
man, it's
it's the formula, man. It's the puzzles, the action, the collecting things. They added those. I think they added. It's been a long time. They added like those little missions, the little blue like things where you're finding charms or hunting animals or doing random tasks to get
for the
stuff
merchant
from the shop.
Yeah,
I don't remember those from the original.
I think I do. I think I do, but I could be wrong. It's been a while, like you said.
It's been a long time, and I don't know how far I even got into it back then. To know what I did. What was funny was they did the demo last week, and I played through the demo, and I was like, I want to play more. So I booted up they have the PlayStation Plus where you can stream games. Resident Evil 4 HD is in there. So I was like, let me boot this up and let me play the original because I just wanted more, and the demo ended. So I started playing that game. I couldn't do it. That game, and I had no idea that it still did. You know, that still had tank controls.
What do you mean?
Like the original ones where it's like you couldn't just like free look around. You had to hold forward to like move, but then you had to kind of like almost RoboCop where you had to turn yourself and then go straight. Like you couldn't just like run around corners, and like looking, you only had like a little window. I couldn't like look upstairs without turning my whole body. And I started playing and I was like, I can't do this. I just couldn't do it. I lasted like I died immediately, and I was like, nope, I'll just wait a week and play the remake.
Yeah, that is a trademark of the early Resident Evil game, those controls like that, which, you know, back in 1998, we didn't care. It was like fresh and new and top of the line. But now, yeah, you need a little more movement. Last of Us games have kind of ruined. Naughty Dog has ruined that kind of stuff for us. But yeah, so yeah, I guess that is an improvement.
So are you playing what difficulty are you playing this game on?
Oh, I'm on the assisted.
Oh, okay, just curious.
Yeah. No, I'm totally on the assisted because I'm scared. I mean, I can change it, I guess, at any time if I wanted to, but my aim is shit. I think you've said that about yourself too in these games. Is like I need to at least feel somewhat better about myself. So yeah, I'm taking the wimpy chicken's way out right now, playing it on the easiest whatever, but I don't care. I'm still having a blast with it.
You know, I usually with Resident Evil games, I always play through the first time for the story and play on assisted, and then I can do New Game Plus on normal and have a little bit of things. But my aim is shit. And in games like this, where it's like part of the difficulty is ammo conservation. And when my aim is shit, I waste so many bullets. So I'm like, nope, this doesn't work. All of a sudden I'm just out of ammo and I'm trying to knife everyone. Then my knife is breaking and I'm like, I hate this game. And it just becomes unplayable.
Right. So you're unassisted too?
Oh yeah. That's how I get through Resident Evil games now. I started doing that somewhere, I think with 7.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let me play through 7. And I tried it on normal and I kept dying and kept dying. I was like, screw this. I'm gonna play it on assisted. Played through, didn't have any problems. Everything died, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. So I just kept doing that as they've been remaking these games. I'm like, let me play them on assisted, and then if I want to jump back in to play through again, like I'm ready to play Village again, I'll probably play that on normal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, especially because they just added the third person perspective for Village.
Yeah.
So I want to check that out. So I'm all Resident Evil'd up. I'm pumped.
Hey, listen, there's no shame in my game. I'm not ashamed to be unassisted. Everyone has to play the game at their own, comfort level. That's where I feel comfortable with this game. Other games I can play on normal or even hard, but Resident Evil is like, nope, not doing it. I know what's in for me if I put it on this. So I'm good with it. My little side question I have is, how do you, people who haven't played Resident Evil games, I'm sorry you're listening to this, but also at the same time, I'm not. How do you like prioritize what your case, like what you carry, what weapons you're gonna have, like the room? I don't know. I always have a hard time. Like, I don't have enough room for that, but I need that. I feel like I should have had the rifle by now, but I don't. I have this other gun. I have like whatever. prioritizing your case you carry in any Resident Evil game is like just as difficult as the game itself to me. It's like, I feel like I have the wrong things sometimes.
Well, I've been spending a lot of my money on just I've already maxed out the initial pistol, and I've almost maxed out like the shotgun. So I just run around with those two. I do have the rifle that I did end up grabbing. Everything else I've just been purchasing with throwing, but I did spend a lot of money really fast to get the bigger case. Every time I saw a bigger case available, that was just what I dumped money into. So I've gone up like 2 or 3 case sizes already. Because I knew that was important, and I've just been worried about like maximizing the weapons that I do have instead of buying other. Like I know they're like, oh, I bought the bolt thing when it was like on sale, in whatever level that was, but I used it a couple times. I was like, I don't like this, so I just dumped it to storage. I did the same thing. I found some like red pistol somewhere, and I was like, oh, this is cool, but that I ended up buying a pistol using those like certificates that you get for doing the blue rewards,
right?
And I started using it a little bit, and I was like, nope, the other one's more powerful, and I sold it back to him. I was like, I don't want it. I've just been trying to be very frugal in that because I carry around a lot of other just like shit. I love the fact that you can hit L3 and it auto sorts your case, auto arranges it, so it's not like a Tetris puzzle like it used to be,
right?
And I like the fact that and I don't remember if they did this in the other remakes. I love the fact that story items don't get in your case,
right?
Because that used to be a pain in the ass. Like, oh, I need this handle or this gear to solve this puzzle, but I don't have room in my case for it, so now I got to run back to the storage.
Like, let me find 5 slots real quick where I can fit this damn handle.
So I was like, thank God I don't have to like worry about that as a difficulty aspect of the game. So I really, I'm glad that I have like a secret bag to hold my treasures.
Yeah. Case management. It's important. Kids out there.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you have to, you can't carry all the guns. You have to pick.
No.
You have to pick what you want. So I've just been running mostly with this. I have the rifle, the shotgun, and the pistol, and I've just been working on maxing those stats. And then I usually don't use many other weapons than those in Resident Evil games. So sometimes I'll think about like if I do a new game plus to do more with it, but I'll pick them up and collect them. But those are kind of my main. They work.
There you go. That works. Yeah, man, but it's a blast. It's a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what else was a blast? Finally sitting down last night to watch the season premiere of Succession. It's finally here. Feels like it's been like 2 years since season 3 ended.
Yeah.
I was really nervous that I was going to sit down and watch Succession and not know what the hell was happening. But they did a decent previously on.
They did, but you know what? Sitting there during that, I was like, huh? I was like, wait, what happened? Oh, yeah, that happened. Oh, my God. There's a lot to remember.
And half of the time, I don't know what's going on anyway.
Right. It's very complicated.
It's really weird. Like you watch an episode and you're like, wait, what happened? What are they talking about? By the end, I'm just like, man, that was good, but I don't always know why.
Like, whose name is that? Who's that guy they're talking about? What is this deal? Who is Pierce? What is what? Who? Yeah.
Pierce. Thank you. I meant to ask before we started recording because I could not remember the name of that
rival company.
The rival company that they're all trying to buy. And I was like, what is it? Because I'm going to embarrass myself. But Don came out with the assist. So I definitely enjoy that. Succession season 4. We're just turning into an HBO podcast because HBO is apparently where it's at for some of these shows. So no one else is doing it for us at the moment. So we figured we'd just keep with it and talk about Succession season 4 premiere and see where we wanted to go from there. Because this is the final season, which I'm nervous because Sarah Snook, the actress, said she didn't know that it was the final season until they got to the table read for the last episode. And they're like, oh, by the way, this is the last episode ever. And she was like, what? So that makes me nervous that they were like, I'm like, are they going to get an ending that they wanted? Because I think Jesse Armstrong, the creator, wanted 5 seasons and this is only 4. So I'm like, are they getting pushed out the door? Is Warner Brothers pushing them out the door like they did Henry Cavill?
I don't know. I hope not. I listened to a little bit of the there is a companion podcast on this with Jesse Armstrong, another producer. And he kind of said that they came to the agreement as a group, and it took a lot of talking about that this is where they had a good ending in mind with this season. He said, I think in the room there were talks and they were throwing stuff at the wall. I was like, well, we could go this way. There could be more to this. We could go, further. But they're like, at the end of the day, the decision came down like, yeah, this is the ending. We have it. Like, we can do it in this season, and that's enough of this story. So I feel like it is kind of planned. Maybe like they just wanted to drop it on the actors so they didn't, go forward with their craft any differently, not knowing that it's the last season. But yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, man, final season, and we're in it now. It's begun.
Well, and I think it is kind of like one story. Yeah, you have seasons, you have a little bit of time jumps, you have some stuff, but it's still just all who's going to succeed Logan in
That's
this.
what the show is called.
Succession. Succession. So it's very much like what is going to happen with this family, the Roy family, that basically, if you don't know, you have the Roy family. You have the Roy family, which are basically like these media moguls. And you have Logan Roy, and then you have his 4 kids. And they all have varying interests in this family-owned business. So when you start the show, you're sitting there with Logan Roy talking about a succession plan and almost seeming like he wants to step down. And then he has a stroke and kind of is like, man, fuck that. I'm not stepping down. I'm never stepping down. I will die in this chair. And all of his kids kind of almost being screwed from that. So then it's been a season after season of kind of like figuring out how they're going to out wheel and deal each other in a big business type setting with all these, like, they're kind of like almost a Stone Age type media company. So he does things a lot of old school. The kids want to do stuff new school. It's really an interesting show, and it's not one I thought I would like, but it's kind of hilarious. And
it's funny. It's funny when it needs to be.
Yeah, it's funny when it needs to be. It's heavy when it needs to be, and just overall is just entertaining as hell. They're talking, and I like said, you don't always know what they're talking about, and they're vulgar as hell, saying all kinds of random crap, but it just works.
It's one of those shows that just like makes you feel smarter for some reason.
Right.
Like if you're watching the West Wing or something.
I'm like, I'm an adult now.
Yeah, just like this.
I watch real shows.
Yeah, I watch shows that make me sit there like with my fist under my mouth, like, I'm putting all the pieces together. Yeah, this is like one of those shows, and like you just said, the kids, him and all his kids. What are their names? You said Shiv,
Roman.
Shiv, Roman. Connor is like the goofy one who like you forget is around sometimes.
Yeah, and
Kendall. God, I couldn't think of Kendall's name, but yeah, they're all different. Like you said, the show started with Kendall kind of thinking he was the main
heir
one
apparent. Yeah,
he's the heir apparent, even though he's not the oldest son, but he's like the one more involved with the business. Connor is the oldest son, but he's like a half brother to the other sibling, so he's kind of always just been off to the side, and no one really takes him seriously, even to this day. In the 4th season, he's kind of just like off to the side. Shiv started off where she was like in politics. She wasn't even part of the business. Throughout the seasons, though, she's become more like she wants to be in charge, and she's had her opportunities. Logan told her at one point that it was her, and like then went back on it and has gone back and forth. And you've had Roman this entire time, like the youngest, thinking he's the smartest guy in the room, but he's like the nut job, kind of like, not really. He's smart, but he's just like the wild card. And just watching all these characters kind of shift and all these things throughout the years has been fun to watch. Like, they're all despicable characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to root for anybody, but you still do root for no one and everyone at the same time.
Yeah, you're kind of okay with whatever happens. Like Logan always says, I never lose. And really, he hasn't at this point.
Right.
So it's one of those things where even when he loses, he still wins. So you're like kind of like rooting for him. But then at the same time, you're like, well, someone's got to take over this company. Like, he's not going to be around forever.
Right.
What's going to happen? Enter cousin Greg.
Oh my God. Greg's going to sit on the throne.
It's going to be a Game of Thrones there. It's going to be a wild card. Who's going to end up on the throne?
Yeah.
It's going to be cousin Greg. So we come back around to season 4, where we basically ended the season with Logan kind of getting the one up on the kids, but the 3 kids, Kendall, Shiv, and Roman, were united for the first time ever. So they were really ready to run a coup and push their dad out. And he ended up getting word from Shiv's husband, Tom. He kind of ratted out his wife to her father.
Yeah.
And because Logan had this like heads up on the this coup that was about to happen, he was able to basically get in the way of it and stop it from actually happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
my understanding. That's what I think happened. I could be wrong.
No, that was the big bombshell from the end of last year was Tom, who throughout the entire series, for those who watch, you know what we're talking about, but like Tom has kind of been Shiv's, I don't want to say like lapdog, but like he's kind of like followed her lead with everyone. She's like the alpha in that relationship. And we always kind of got the idea that she didn't really love Tom. She did, but she didn't. It's just more of like a marriage of convenience and finding a guy, you know, just to be married. You know what I mean? Like they kind of had this open relationship that she was basically propelling that direction. Like we got the feeling Tom didn't really want to do that, but he was just going along with it because he loves Shiv. And so throughout the years, it kind of seemed like Tom would just do anything for her. He would never go against her or whatever. But at the end of season 3, he basically, you know, chose his interests, his career and his interests, and like siding with Logan over Shiv. And it's like, you know, him basically being like, it's not personal, but this is business and this is my career and my life, and that's important too. So that was like the huge thing with them. But yeah, this season kind of sees the beginning of the 3 main children. I'm leaving Connor off. Sorry, Connor. But like Shiv, Kendall, and Roman all being aligned. And I don't know about you, throughout the years, whenever those 3 kind of feel like they're on the same page for a little bit, I like it.
Yeah.
Like when they all get together and they put all the bullshit to the side because they've done horrible things to each other for 3 seasons, talk shit and insult each other up and down. But when they're kind of that family unit together, I was excited at the end of season 3 to be like, all right, now it's all the kids versus Logan. And I don't know why I like that better than like, let's say, you know, Roman's against Kendall or Shiv's against Kendall. Like I like that they're all 3 together.
Well, and I liked, going through all of those things because I enjoyed them going at each other as well. But now, it was all leading to them. They needed to team up if they were going to actually try to win some way. If they were going to topple their father. And it seemed like we did a time jump, which was good. So we didn't have to deal with any of the fallout. We just got to do this time jump where it almost seemed like the 3 of them decided they were going to do something different. Like they were taking their shares. They were kind of going to let Logan have his empire and do whatever he wants. And they were going to be like, hey, we're just going to go play over here, start this company called the 100 and have no idea what it was. Some kind of new news streaming platform, whatever they were doing. They didn't really dive too deep into what it was. As far as I was aware, it was supposed to be revolutionary, but low key and their own thing that they wanted to build. And that did not last very long.
No, it would have been just like a meta or something. You know what I mean? Like trying to compare it to something real or like a new, like you said, a new way how we get media now, like kids through their phones and streaming, and it's a stock app and it's a news app and it's a games thing and it's whatever. But yeah, ultimately they decided when they found out that Pierce, which is the has been the competitor to ATN, that's what it's called, right? ATN. Yeah, for years, and Logan's always coveted it. When they found out that might be available to them, they can't help themselves but be like, no, that should be ours. Like, screw dad. We're going to take that. We know he wants it. Like, still in the pit of them, they can't let go of this game of one-upsmanship. And like, we want to prove that we're better than him, that we could do this better than him. Like his own, you know, empire. We could run it better than he ever could. So let's go take this and do it our way and bury him, basically. That's mainly Kendall and Shiv's thought. Roman kind of just decides to go along with it at the end because he's still daddy's boy. It feels like in the pit of his heart, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it absolutely was like, hey, here we are, and then we kept bouncing back and forth to Logan's sad birthday party.
It was a very sad birthday party.
Yeah, he
hates people.
He really does hate people, and he hates being the center of attention in that kind of way. And
always.
Yeah, so he always, whenever they have a party, he always seems like he hates everything. But this one seemed a little worse as to where he was going. But Logan's birthday party did provide us with Greg and Tom getting back together. The disgusting brothers that they were calling themselves.
Oh my God.
Just the chemistry between Greg and Tom is amazing. And they were always good. They're always good for like that comedic relief. If they start talking about something like the shit that Tom gives, because obviously, as you said, Tom is kind of like, to his wife, he's kind of the sub in that relationship.
Right.
His wife kind of is the one in charge. And then he goes right back to Greg and is like, well, my wife shits on me, I'm going to shit on you. And
he's the alpha in that relationship.
Yeah, he's the alpha in this relationship. So it's fun to see Tom be very, submissive to his wife, but extremely dominant to Greg.
Yeah, in hilarious ways. Like he's always just fucking with his mind. Like telling him things that are like, "Oh, you're in trouble, Greg." Like, what?
I am.
And he just believes it because he's so funny and gullible. But like every time they talk to each other, it's just get ready for comedy. Like it's hilarious. I laughed out loud a couple times.
Yeah, as soon as Greg walked into the party bringing some girl, and everyone's like, "Who's that girl? Why are you bringing her to this party? Is she an undercover, operative for, business espionage and all this stuff?" And he's like, "What? I met her." Yeah. They were like, "Is she an app girl? Did you meet her on an app?"
Logan's assistant's like, "Did you meet her on the apps?" I was like, that's funny.
Yeah. And he did. And that just was great. Like I said, I always loved the two of them together.
Yeah. Greg by himself is hilarious. Yeah. Tom is funny, but when you put them together, it's like comedic gold. I'm telling you.
Yes. Yeah. But yes, so then they, like I said, Tom kind of accidentally tipped off Shiv on this sale with Pierce Entertainment.
Right.
So then the kids decided, hey, yeah, we're going for this, which was super cool. And then they did this started this bidding war secretly against their father to who's going to buy this empire. And one of the things that was really like almost sweet and sad was Logan really missing his kids for his birthday. And the fact that they weren't there to basically give him shit or talk shit about other people in the room. He wanted random people to say funny things. Say something funny. Why don't you roast me? Because that's what his kids would do. And he's like, or they would roast the other managers, or they would roast other people in the room. And you just everyone was busting balls. And no one's busting balls. It's sitting quiet while they're waiting for these bids to come in. And Logan is like, say something funny. And it was really kind of funny and uncomfortable. And then when you thought about it and just realizing that he's doing that because he misses his kids, you're just like, man, that's sad.
Yeah, he misses Roman being in the room, like talking shit to every single person.
Yeah.
Or all of them did that. Kendall did that. Shiv did that. Yeah, he was kind of looking to fill that void. He's basically like gone against his kids in the business world and shunned them and like pushed them out. But you can tell that he misses his family. He still loves his family. He loves his kids. He always has. Whenever throughout the entire running of this show, when things aren't about business, he's still like a dad to them. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was kind of sad. And I didn't really think about it until you're saying it. Like, yeah, him saying, somebody say something funny, somebody roast somebody. Like, that's his way of being like, fill the role that my kids did that like made me feel like dad.
Because if you think back, he really enjoyed, like he always was laughing and he always enjoyed the ball busting that those kids would do. There's a reason they did it. The reason they talk that way. And And like
Greg was like, "Where's your kids, Roman? Where's your kids on your birthday?" I was like, "Oh shit, Greg don't care."
Yeah, and then he's just like, I'm sorry. I don't really know what I'm saying right now. You're really scary. You're really intimidating."
Yeah.
And then Logan, "Hey, I bet everyone $1 to go smell Greg's finger."
Right.
Yeah.
Poor Greg.
Yes, Greg accidentally making a sex tape in one of the rooms was hilarious. That killed me. He was like, "You accidentally made Logan a sex tape. You have to tell him."
Like he watches those every night with a glass of scotch.
Yeah, that was super, super. God, it was gold. It was gold. But then we ended everything really on kind of a sad note because I mean, while they're doing these negotiations, I guess we could talk about the negotiations as they were going through with Cherry Jones popping up as Miss Nan Pierce.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, but I also enjoyed her like, "Oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. I don't like this." But I mean, I like the number, 9 billion and like like her being very like, I don't feel right about this, but if you're gonna do this, then maybe tell me this. And like her still trying to play something while trying to just be innocent, and it was just like, oh yeah. Roman is like, "Oh, what number comes after 9? I wonder." Start with a B.
Every episode of this show has like some kind of tense boardroom style like showdown or something. You know what I mean? Not everyone, but most of them do. Like something's coming down to the wire. Somebody's going to lose a bunch of money. Somebody's going to spend a bunch of money. Somebody's going to make the wrong decision. Somebody's going to be ruined forever. And that was like the moment in this show where as it's happening, you're like, how are the kids going to fuck this up? How is Logan going to outsmart them? How are they going to maybe get the better of him for the first time? It's like that tenseness and that like anxiety level that just makes the show so good and so fun to watch because you just don't know what's going to happen. You're like, I'm scared for them. Like all these despicable people, but I'm scared for what they're going to do. Like they're going to fuck something up. That was that moment of this episode, like that whole stretch there of them bidding against their father on opposite sides of the country. But
with money that they don't even know if they have.
Right. That's the scary part. Like, let's go to 9.5. Do we have 9.5? Like, they don't know if they even have this money that they're
Yeah.
or they're going to be able to get it.
Yeah. So they ended up winning with a bid of $10 billion to buy this media company with a B, which their banker was only telling them that they could come up with 7.5.
Right.
And then they somehow pushed their way up to 10 and said it, and we're like, we got it. It was a conversation ending offer, which was awesome. But yeah, I can imagine there's still being problems coming in from these kids swooping in. And I'm imagining that's going to mess up other deals that are currently in place or were, the different ATN was about to get bought out by, was it Gojo
with old Skarsgård.
Skarsgård coming in and buying out ATN and doing that, and now I bet you them owning Pierce had something to do with that. So I've imagined that's going to be a problem.
Oh yeah, it'll be a problem. There's a reason why. There's a reason why Logan started with 6, and only wanted to go up to a certain number because 10's going to be a problem for somebody who doesn't have 10.
Yeah. So they said the bigger number, which is what Logan said. Congratulations on saying the bigger number.
Yep.
Fuck you, or something similar to that.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Somewhere in there was a direct quote for him.
Yeah.
But part of that negotiation, when Nan was worried about their connections with the family, and she mentioned Shiv's marriage to Tom and how Tom was working for her father, and she said, "Well, we're getting divorced." And it kind of was out of the blue, and it surprised everybody.
I was going to say it caught Kendall off guard.
Yeah.
He gave that little look like, really? Yep.
And we realized, we kind of find out in there that they've been separated since he kind of ratted them out to her father and decided, and it was really kind of a weird thing because I was like, is she... Yeah, obviously we didn't see all that middle stuff. Obviously they weren't doing well, but when she went to basically said, "We're done," you're like, she didn't really look like she wanted to. So it was almost like, is she finally just doing it just because this deal?
Right.
Like, did that have just like, I have to go do it now because that's why the deal worked, was because I said I was getting divorced. So, I mean, I know they had their issues, and but she, still seen aspects of Tom that she obviously still loves Tom somewhere inside.
Yeah, they both do. And I feel like they both have reasons to get divorced, but they also probably have reasons not to. The scene was a real emotional scene, because we've seen these two characters have their ups and downs, but they always kind of were on each other's side in a way.
Yeah.
There was that one rough moment, which I think they even showed in like the previously on, where they had like this game last season where it's like, I'll tell you the truth, you tell me the hard truth. And like Shiv was half joking, but Tom took it really seriously, where she was like, I don't really love you, whatever. And he like took that really to heart. So I think that kind of helped him do what he ended up doing with, choosing his career first over his marriage.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a heavy scene. Them like, deciding they are gonna get divorced and being like, we gave it a go, and
off we go.
Neither one of them storming off. It wasn't like an angry. They're not throwing things around the room. They're not fighting. It's just like, yeah, I mean, we've come to the end of this, and that was I mean, we'll see how it kind of plays out in the remaining episodes, but that was a good scene, heavy scene.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see where everything kind of is laying out from there and what the fallout from that is going to be. So they definitely did a lot of setting the stage for the season, for the final season of this show. We have all the players in place as to what they're doing and pushing towards what's going to happen. Is this company still going to exist? Is there going to be a succession? Is Logan going to win? Is one of the kids going to win? Are they going to turn on each other? Like, so much can happen in these 8 episodes or whatever it is.
Well, we won't do too much predicting, but my question, just a general question, like, who, you alluded to it a little bit, but who are you rooting for in this? Who is your person? You're like, at the end of this show, I want them to be the winner, successful.
I think I would probably be going for Roman.
Okay.
I think he's had the biggest arc, like, of growth from where he started and being kind of the degenerate who was just kind of there because this is where dad wants me, and I just kind of be the daddy's boy and kind of, jerking off to the window and just kind of really being a degenerate. Coming now, like where we are now, he's a different person than that. He is trying to be serious. He's trying, he's done stuff. He's just had a lot of growth that I think him ending up on top would be unexpected, because you would just imagine that he's never shown as the type of person to wheel or deal, or he always wants to do everything kind of the right way. And just, he's always had this idea of like what we should do, what this company needs to do. And no one ever wants to listen to him. So the fact of him trying to like actually coming out and saying, well, I actually worked this deal, and like screwing everybody, I think would be really satisfying.
For sure.
Who are you rooting for?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. I go back and forth, but I'm still a Kendall guy. I don't know why. I think it's just because how hard he had it last season.
He's had it hard.
Like, after all the stuff he went through, like, spoilers, season 1, accidentally killing a kid, and then his dad finding out about it and basically like holding it over his head and like kind of holding him captive, and then him just kind of like falling apart, and everyone in the family hates him, and he's off on his own, and like his dad's still holding it over his head and basically telling him, if anyone's going to go to jail or take the fall, it has to be you, Kendall. And Kendall just being like, okay. And just being like, I don't know. And I feel like he's still smart enough to do it. And it should have been his to begin with. Like back in the beginning of season 1, like it should have been Kendall's. He was the guy for the job.
Yeah. His entire downfall happened because he got screwed.
Right.
By his dad, and he started doing drugs again, and just he spiraled from there, and everything that happened was a direct result of him not getting what he was promised.
Yeah.
That he was working for. He was busting his ass to get it then and stay on the straight and narrow, and once it kind of lost, he was like, well, whatever. I'm going to go have fun again.
Yeah, he's done terrible things too, but I feel like he's, paid.
There's a redemption in there.
Yeah, there's definitely redemption. He's like paid his dues, and it should be him. But I don't know. We're sitting here talking like somebody's going to get something. Like, who knows what they're going to do, how they're going to end this show. They have to end it somehow.
Yeah, they could all end up with nothing.
Yeah, it's a very hard one to predict.
But I would be happy with Cousin Greg sneaking in the back door.
Right.
Because I could see it, because he's come a long way as well. And I could see him working something, him or Tom. They're there for a reason. And I can see them having a big impact as well. But like I said, mine, I think from a satisfying arc standpoint, Roman doing a big move that you don't see coming, because you wouldn't see it coming because he's never done anything like that.
He's always been like the lowest one you'd expect to get there. Mm-hmm. Like Kendall, if it happened, people are like, oh yeah. Or even Shiv, like if Shiv got to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, like Roman's gonna.
Yeah, and they're the two that have been told. Shiv and Kendall have been told that they can have it. Roman's never, as far as I can remember, never been even told or even thought about. And they were laughing at him when he wanted to be a manager, and they sent him to management training and stuff. So it's one of those things where I think over the years he's really shown that he can do it, and I think he wants it. But I think it'd be interesting. But yeah, I have no idea. Like I said, anything. The whole thing could go bankrupt, and they can all end up homeless by the end of this. I don't know.
Yeah,
it can go anyway. So I'm super excited, super pumped. Love talking about this with you. I'm gonna have to listen to their official one and kind of get the lowdown on what's going on with this. But man, Succession is back. It's a great jump. Go from Last of Us to Succession.
Yeah, man. And if you guys are listening, that means you are into Succession too. We think it's one of the better shows out there. So I'm happy to talk about it with you. It's glad to talk it out with somebody. Because it's a very interesting show. A lot of twists and turns and drama, and just I don't know why it's just fun to sometimes watch rich white billionaires
rich white
have
billionaires
problems.
Have problems. I'm sure there's something deep down inside there that'll answer that question for you.
That's why we like shows like, what was the other one about the hotel murders?
White Lotus.
White Lotus, same thing. Just rich billionaires having problems. It's fun. It's juicy. It's dramatic.
I love it. I love it. It's a nice change of pace coming off of The Last of Us. Ready to talk more about it. If you're still listening to us, then obviously you care about Succession. If not, hopefully you do now, and you can go binge some seasons and catch up with us. You have any questions on Succession or Resident Evil 4, since we did talk about that as well, hit us up on all the normal things. Raised a Geek. We're easy to find across all social media, podcast platforms. We exist. You can even shoot us an email at raisethegeek@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about Succession. But I think that's going to do it for us this week. I think we're all talked out. So for Raise the Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
And thanks for checking out the show,
where geek is all we speak.